They say friendships are essential at any age. But what if letting go of them after 70 is the real key to peace and fulfillment? As we grow older, our priorities shift. The things we once chased, like big social circles and constant connection, begin to feel less important. And here's the truth. You don't actually need friends after 70. Not in the way the world tells you you do. In fact, choosing independence over obligation and stillness over social noise can lead to a deeper kind of happiness, the kind that comes from within. In this video, we'll explore 6 powerful reasons why friendships might not be necessary anymore, and how walking away from outdated expectations can give you more time, more peace, and more freedom to live life your way. This isn't about isolation. It's about liberation. It's about reclaiming your time and energy and building a life that feels light, simple, and meaningful. Stay with me until the very end, because the final reason we'll explore might just change the way you see aging and yourself forever. Let's begin. Number 1. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. For most of your life, you were expected to show up, impress others, and earn your place again and again. But now, you've outgrown that chapter. You've lived enough, loved enough, given enough. You no longer need to prove your worth, especially not through friendships that demand effort without giving back. In your younger years, you may have clung to social circles to feel seen, to feel valid, to feel like you belong. But those needs fade with wisdom. By the time you're in your 70s, you know who you are. You've already built your legacy, and you don't need applause to validate your story. Take Harold, for example, a man who spent decades climbing the corporate ladder, surrounded by co-workers, clients, and friends. But the moment he retired, those connections disappeared. He started reaching out, trying to stay in touch, until one day he asked himself, why? Why chase people who never truly saw him? So he stopped. Oh, and something unexpected happened. He felt relief. No more forced conversations. No more trying to fit in. No more wasting time on people who didn't matter. He discovered what many people miss. You don't need friends to feel whole. Not when you finally respect yourself enough to let go of anything that doesn't serve you. Because when you no longer seek approval, you gain something far more powerful: freedom. Number 2. Peace becomes more valuable than socializing. There comes a point in life when peace becomes more precious than conversation. When you were younger, a busy calendar felt exciting, calls to return, gatherings to attend. You thrived on connection. But now, something quieter calls to you, something softer, something deeper. You begin to see that not every friendship brings peace. Not every phone call is worth returning. Not every gathering nourishes your soul. Margaret knew this well. At 74, her days used to be packed. Coffee dates, group chats, dinner invitations. But over time she noticed something. The joy was fading. The effort stayed. Some friends only called to gossip. Others drained her with their constant complaints. And slowly, what once felt social now felt exhausting. So she made a change. She started saying no, not out of bitterness, but out of wisdom. She walked more, read more, rested more, and most importantly, she started enjoying her own company. And for the first time in years, she felt truly at peace. That's the power of this stage in life. You realize that fulfillment doesn't come from how many people surround you, but how calm your mind feels when they're not around. So if you've been pulling away from certain friendships, don't feel guilty. You're not becoming isolated. You're becoming free. Number 3. Fewer friendships mean fewer disappointments. With age comes clarity, and one truth becomes painfully clear. Not every friend was truly a friend. How many times have you reached out, only to hear silence in return? How often did you give more than you receive? When you're younger, you tolerate it. You justify it. You keep trying. But by the time you reach your 70s, you stop making excuses. You start recognizing patterns. William, at 78, had spent decades nurturing friendships, sending messages, remembering birthdays, checking in. And slowly, he noticed something. Those efforts weren't being returned. Plans were always on his shoulders. Calls went unreturned. Conversations became one-sided. And one day, he stopped asking himself what he did wrong and started asking why he was still trying. That's when he found peace. Not by replacing those friendships, but by releasing them. Because fewer friendships mean fewer expectations. And fewer expectations mean fewer disappointments. This doesn't mean isolation. It means clarity. It means choosing the few who truly care, instead of holding on to the many who never really did. You'll know when your time, your attention, or your heart, especially not those who disappeared when you needed them most. Number 4, your time becomes more precious with age. When you're young, time feels infinite, like there's always more. More days, more chances, more people to see. But once you reach 70, something changes. You start to feel time differently, not as something you spend, but something you protect. In your earlier years, you may have filled your calendar with obligations masked as friendships, dinners out of guilt, calls out of habit, gatherings you didn't enjoy. But now, every hour matters more, because you realize you can never get it back. Richard, in his early 80s, used to be the life of the party, always on the phone, always saying yes. But over time, he noticed something. Those conversations drained him. Those lunches bored him. And the people he met were more interested in gossip than growth. So one day, he stopped. He chose silence over small talk, a good book over forced chatter, and peace over pleasing others. And in that stillness, he found freedom. Because when you no longer owe your time to anyone, you can finally use it for everything that brings you joy. So ask yourself the next time someone wants to talk, or invites you somewhere you don't want to go, is this how I want to spend my precious time? Because by now, you've earned the right to say no without guilt. And yes, only to what makes your soul feel alive. Number 5, true companionship comes from within. One of the greatest lies we're told about aging is that happiness depends on having people around us. But as you grow older, you begin to understand something deeper. Real peace doesn't come from others. It comes from being at peace with yourself. You've spent decades surrounded by people in workplaces, family gatherings, social circles. But how much of that time was spent adjusting, pleasing, or pretending? After 70, you don't need crowds. You need clarity. Take Eleanor, 76. For years, she filled her calendar with lunches, calls, visits, trying to stay connected, trying not to feel alone. But she was still tired, still unfulfilled, until she stopped. She took herself for walks, read books in cafes, sat in silence without feeling lonely, and she realized something powerful. She was enough. True companionship isn't a friend who checks in. It's knowing you're content even when they don't. It's being your own source of joy, of conversation, of peace. And the beauty is, when you enjoy your own company, you attract others who do too. People who respect your pace, your peace, your space. So if you've been worrying that fewer friends means you're missing something, remember this: you are already whole. And that is the kind of freedom only time can give you. Number 6. Letting go opens the door to a more fulfilling life. One of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself after 70 is the permission to let go. Let go of friendships that feel forced. Let go of expectations that no longer serve you. Let go of the guilt for choosing peace over people. Because when you release what's weighing you down, you make space for what truly lifts you up. James, in his late 70s, used to believe that staying social was the key to aging well. He filled his schedule with calls, invitations, catch-ups with people he no longer felt connected to, until one day he paused. He realized he was staying busy, not because it brought joy, but because he was afraid of what would happen if he didn't. He made a choice to stop chasing what no longer felt meaningful, to stop showing up out of habit, and to start showing up for himself. And what he found was something priceless: freedom. Freedom to spend his days in nature, to focus on his health, to enjoy the stillness of his own company, and most of all, freedom to live on his terms, not someone else's. Letting go doesn't mean shutting the world out. It means creating a life that reflects who you are today, not who you were 20 years ago. So if you've been holding on to friendships out of guilt, fear, or routine, ask yourself, is this feeding my soul, or just filling my calendar? Because when you choose peace, you find something deeper than company. You find contentment. And that's the kind of fulfillment that doesn't come from others. It comes from you. Take a quiet moment to reflect. You don't need friends after 70 to feel whole, to feel happy, or to feel fulfilled. You need peace. You need freedom. You need a life that reflects your truth. Because true joy isn't found in keeping up appearances. It's found in letting go. You've earned the right to use your time how you choose. Spend your energy where it matters. To embrace the quiet that brings you back to yourself. So, which part of today's message spoke to you most? Have you let go of friendships that no longer serve you? Have you found new peace in your own company? We'd love to hear your story. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to bring it into your life. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.